So hello everyone, today we'll be learning about states in React.js. What is a state and why should we use it and how can we use that? So states are basically the objects in React.js, the built-in objects that we use for showing the data temporarily in our JSX. So we can say we can show the dynamic data whenever you fetch any detail from the API or anything. Whatever the data you want to show in the JSX dynamically, that you will be showing with the help of states. So let's understand with an example. First of all, I'll be creating a component which is called counter. Make sure you name it capital while you create it. So I can use this RFCE snippet, and then you'll be able to see that. So let's make it a heading. Now I can write counter. So for creating a state in a functional component, you just need a hook, which is useState. So we'll be talking about the hooks later in this series. Hooks are basically the functions which makes possible the things in functional components which are not possible uh, previously. So earlier we could not create states in the previous version of React.js, like the upper version of 16. Now with the help of hooks we can create that. So that is the addition in React.js. So that will be understanding in the later series. Let's understand the first hook, or the useState hook. So for that you just need to declare this with the const, and then you have to write an array symbol or an array square brackets. Then you can write the state name, which is in my case I can write the count, and I can write the set count. What is this count and this set count? Count will be the variable which we'll be using for showing the value of our state, and set count will be the function which we'll be using to update or modify our state, which is in this case count. So let's create that, then understand what and how it is working. So in useState I can write the initial value. This is a useState hook. This is a function, you can say, and in useState I'll be assigning an initial value. For example, I'm assigning 0. Also you have to import this from the React useState. You just have to write this in curly brackets because it is a named export in React. So we'll be doing like this. And also you can just write the count. For like rendering that count state, you just need to wrap the state into the curly brackets. Then it will be rendered, the value will be rendered, which is temporarily in our stage. So let's see what happens here. So let's first import it in the home page. So I can import it like this, counter. So I can import it like this, and that will be imported from the components. Let's check what happens. So you can see the initial value of 0, which I initialized in the counter.jsx. So I can write a 2 or 1 initial value. So you can see that the first or the initial value is 1. So let's create some buttons to update the state. Let's create it into a fragment. I have already told you what is a fragment. So let's create a button for increment. So I'm creating it, and I'll be assigning a listener, on click listener, just like in normal JavaScript, but I'll be naming it in camel casing. So I've already told you some of the things are changed in React.js, so that will be changing. So let's assign a function which is handle increment, or I can write anything. So let's create this function. So I'll be creating it with const, and I'll be assigning an arrow function to it. So let's increment it with this set count function which we declared at the time of state creation. So how can you increment the state? We just need an update in the previous state. So I'll be doing this, but this feature which I'm doing right now, it will update the previous state by 1. So this is fine, but we shouldn't do this like this. So let me show you, it is also working. You can see that, but sometimes in bigger projects this cause problems in rendering the element. So we'll be using arrow function, and we'll be getting the previous state value with this arrow function, and we'll be incrementing this by 1. So you can do like this. So it helps in sometimes we want some modification in the state, and then in the previous state, yes, that we can also do in here. So let's see what is the effects. The same effect will be there, and also if I inspect this element, you can see only this part of the application or the page is rendering. So if I expand that h1, so you can see this 6, it is only incrementing, so it is updating only this part. So this is the beauty of React.js. Also I can create one more button similarly for decrementing the button or the state value, sorry. So let's handle decrement, create the another function and write decrement here. And also I can similarly create this, copy paste the same function and just be writing handle decrement and just -1. So you can see that we have assigned the function, and now it will also work. So for decrement, it will be decrementing the value, and for increment, it will be incrementing our value. So this is a dynamic state we are using for this component. So this is how we can create the state in functional components in React.js. So in the future videos, we'll be working on more complex states. So let's meet in the another one.